What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we're talking Daredevil Born Again, episode 5 and 6. We got double episode this week. I can't say enough about it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Before, Dave, how's it going, sir?
Well, Keith, I am fan freaking tastic. I've been working a lot this week, and I gotta tell you, I've had you all know what I do. I drive Uber, and I have had some long trips this week. Naperville, Illinois. What was it, Jackson the other night, and today, Battle Creek. It's been good, money wise. Not on the way back though. The way back is not so good. But it's helping me. I've had some financial problems recently, and that's helping me out. So I'm not going to refuse it. But these two episodes, there's so much to say. I have positive and negative things. Maybe not as positive as I have been on these shows lately. So we'll get to that in a moment. Keith, how are you?
Well, after you loved Todd McFarlane's Spawn so much, understandable that you were
Right.
disappointed by this.
That
But,
rate's right up there with Morbius. I mean, come on.
but I am doing tremendous. I'm on spring break with the kids this week. Haven't worked all week. Went and saw the Looney Tunes movie today, which was enjoyable. Just enjoying time off, swimming, doing all the things we like to do. Of course, I did have a issue with my garage door opener and my car that had to get fixed. So that wasn't fun. Seems to be that time of the year when things are going wrong. So hopefully that's all behind us. But man, we got some Daredevil to talk about. So should we jump right? And for those of you wondering, Doug is not with us tonight. He is actually at the world premiere of Red Sonja, the new movie coming out. So he'll have a report. I'm kidding. He's actually at
Did
a
you write that?
he's at a secret screening of Superman. So we'll hear what his thoughts are on that here relatively soon. But let's talk Daredevil Born Again. We got two episodes this week, like I talked about. We got With Interest and we got Excessive Force. And With Interest was a filler episode. Now, that's not a bad thing here. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought, well, it was basically it's St. Patrick's Day. We have Luca's gang, who owes Victor 1.8 million, deciding to rob the bank and trying to get a diamond out of it. Matt Murdock was there because he was trying to get a loan for his law firm, which was denied because he likes to take pro bono cases where no money is coming into the firm. And of course, it was Kamala Khan's dad who was working at the bank.
Who would not let you forget that he was Kamala Khan's dad?
He has a son too. Wasn't mentioned once. So I think we
No.
know who that family's favorite is. But he left the bank and he went back when he kind of heard with his radar sense what was going on. And it really did a good job of showing off his radar senses and what he does best is his heightened senses. I thought they did a good job with him being able to hear what they were saying in other rooms, figuring out what was going on. They almost sent him out, but he talked his way into staying with his, I'm a really good lawyer abilities. And just all around, just was such an entertaining episode. It really did not push the plot forward at all for this season, which is why we're calling it a filler episode. But I didn't have my phone up. I didn't have anything. I watched that episode and was like, all right. Outside of, once again, hearing the name Kamala like 14 times, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Which, for me, that was a minor nitpick. It didn't bother me too much. I was just like, okay, she's probably going to have a show coming out in the near future, or she's going to be in Doomsday, so it's cool. Jersey City, they're tying together the MCU, bringing Daredevil into the MCU a little bit with having,
Yeah.
this reference.
And that's all cool and everything, but I think it could have been done in a lot less time than an entire episode. That was my gripe with it. It, like you said, it didn't advance the plot, and I was really hoping to see some more Frank Castle. Maybe advance his story a little bit, set him up, or have him, motivate Matt to go back to what he does best. And well, that's pretty much what we'll talk about that in a minute with episode 6. But this episode, it also reminded me a little bit of the beginning of The Dark Knight, where their bank heist. And yeah, he does a good job of talking the innocent out of the room. They let him go. I didn't think he was going to do it. But then, you know, Mr. Kamala's dad, as long as he occupied the guy at the vault, I mean, I thought he was really running out of things to say. I mean, how patient was that guy? You know, and then Matt showed up at the last second when he realized the guy didn't know the code. I don't know. I just think it could have been done faster and we could have got to some more meat. That's just my opinion.
See, I didn't think it at all. I thought they played it at a perfect pace. They didn't rush through it all. You know, we got time to see, you know, Matt using his skills, like being able to pick the lock with the tumblers and get in there, and, you know, just all the little things that he did in this episode. I thought it was, you know, I didn't think we had to rush it. As much as I want to see more, you know, Punisher, I'm not going to say anything bad about this episode because we didn't get it. Because I think we see with what's happening in the next episode that Frank will be coming back very soon. But, you know, let's not jump ahead. You know, Matt does a great job. He opens the vault. He finds out what they're looking for because, you know, talking to the people, he finds out all there is, you know, the little...
Diamond?
Well, not the diamond, just the vault isn't full of cash and stuff. It's just safe deposit boxes. So he, you know, figuring out... When it was a diamond, I was really hoping it was something like some MacGuffin from the MCU somewhere, like some weapon, like it was something from the Avengers, like a weapon that like someone
Infinity
found.
Stone.
Not an Infinity Stone, but you know, one of the weapons that were being used by the invading armies from the first Avengers. I thought that'd be a cool tie-in because they obviously, with the incessant mentioning of Kamala, you know, we're trying to tie this into the MCU, and it was fine.
Even one like a bead from the bracelet from like Wakanda, that would have been cool.
Yeah,
You know, that somebody just found. But do you think like when obviously they found the diamond at the end of the show, do you think it has any significance beyond this show, beyond this episode? No.
I think it was just an expensive diamond that would allow Luca's crew to pay off, you know, get the 1.8 million or whatever. I don't think it had any significance beyond that, you know, and the fact it looked like a butterscotch candy or whatever. Because it was funny when, you know, it was very Dark Knighty how they had stuff planned out, like the one hostage was basically an accomplice, and when Matt threw it up and he caught it, he gave it to her, not realizing that little sleight of hand by, you know, Matt Murdock must be hanging out with Scott Pym a little bit. Not Scott Pym.
You mean Hank Pym?
No, not Hank Pym. Hank Pym's not the one. Scott, who's Ant-Man? Why can't I think of his name?
Scott
Lang.
Why
Scott
can't I
Lang.
remember?
Scott Lang.
Lang.
Because remember, he was doing the hand card tricks for the guy. So he must, because that was great. He threw it up in the air. It was obviously not that. She gets outside and sees that it's not the diamond. And then when Matt sees, you know, him leave in the police outfit getting away, he goes out and, you know, takes care of justice. And the one way I do think this episode pushed the season forward was it was another lesson for him that, hey, you need to be out there as Daredevil. You need to be helping people with how you can. You know, great response with great power comes great responsibility. And he kind of learned that a little bit in this episode too. It wasn't, you know, shoved down our throats, but it was just one more item, you know, to talk with Frank, this bank robbery, and then obviously in the next episode with Angela and what happens to her. It all was the factors that, you know, and we'll get to it when we talk about that. I love the way he decided to, you know, get the suit on, but
he's just gotta be convinced to be what he really is, what he already is. That's his natural self. I think Daredevil is his natural self, and Matt Murdock is the backup. You know, just like, you know, with Superman, where Clark Kent is just, you know, what he does when he doesn't want to be recognized. it's the same way with Daredevil. He just got to be pushed to realize that is what you do. That is just you. You know, the same way that Wilson Fisk has to realize that about himself.
And we've been talking about it all season, the parallels between the two, trying to hide their true selves. And, perhaps next episode, it'll all come out.
Something might happen. I don't know. Waiting to see.
Little foreshadowing. I did think it was funny, too, at the end when he, obviously, I'll take one of those candies now, and obviously slips the diamond in there, a little more sleight of hand. But I like that he agreed to have dinner with the Khans. I hope we see that at some point. We see just Matt eating dinner with them, him not knowing that Kamala is Miss Marvel, her not knowing, she'll probably lie about not being Miss Marvel or something. He'll figure it out or something, but maybe that'll be a nice tie-in, because we do get, the one thing I did like is him saying, oh, she's visiting her friends on the West Coast, which is definitely hinting at, Kate Bishop, Cassie Lang, all of what was formerly going to be the Young Avengers and is now going to be the Champions. And I don't know if you saw this, but the day these episodes dropped, I think it was Variety. Might have been the Hollywood Reporter. One of those that Rachna Fochbaum, I am butchering that name and I apologize, is slated to write the series for Disney Plus that is reportedly in early development at Marvel Studios. Champions, that is. And Rachna is serves as is going to run the series, be executive producer, and is currently the producer and writer on Apple TV's Shrinking, which I don't think you've watched it.
No, I haven't. I heard so many good things.
It's great. It is so good. Hopefully, this writer can do as good a job on the Champions as Shrinking. Now, Shrinking is obviously not a superhero show, but it is so well written, and you care about the characters, and there's, these characters grow and change, and it's very, hits you in the feels quite a bit. This show, Shrinking, can really hit you in the feels quite often with all the characters and the stuff going on. So I'm looking forward to that. I thought that's a good hire. I hope it translates into a good show, and it does look.
Look at the LaRusso brothers. What they do before they did? I know the
Community.
Show. Community.
Yep.
Didn't they do the Jason Bateman show too?
Yeah, they did episodes of Arrested Development. Yep.
Yeah, you look at those, and those were comedies, and then they hired for a Marvel project, and they knocked it out of the park on all three of them so far. So what? Or is there 4?
Yeah.
Did they do
Captain America, Winter Soldier,
Civil War,
Infinity War, and then Endgame?
Yeah. And they're doing 2 more, and at least 2 more. And, so that worked out. So maybe this guy will be the same.
Yep.
And I thought Kate Bishop was in New York.
She was during the series, but I think, did they hint? And it's funny because we'll have to talk about this. The 2 post-credit scenes for the Marvels seem to be the most important kind of moving forward, because it sounds like we're getting that Champion series, which was the pre-credit scene where Kamala goes and kind of recruits Kate Bishop. Now, it could be that Kamala and Kate are both out visiting Cassie Lang, because we do know Cassie Lang is out on the West Coast because that's where Scott has been. So that could be it. But it sounds like, at least we got the hint for that series in this series. So it does sound like they're moving forward with it, since this episode survived the rewrite. This was an episode that was in pre-complete overhaul. And according to the showrunner, this is the only episode that was not touched in any way. This entire episode was as it was pre-rewrite.
I would hate to have seen, at the same time I would love to have seen what it was before the reshoots.
And it's funny because when we learned that he doesn't put on the Daredevil costume till like the final episode, how it was previously written, I was like, that's a terrible mistake. But almost all the episodes where we don't see Daredevil have still been really good. And I don't know if they would have been as good, pre-rewrite. We don't know, but it's like seeing this, I'm not as opposed to not seeing him in the costume as much as I thought I would be. You know what I mean? They've been so good, even when, it's all court with Hector, or it's, all in the bank with a bank robbery going on, and him, using his powers, but as Matt Murdock. They've done such a good job of writing these characters and just moving the story along. And like I said, it's funny because I learned a new term, bottle episode. Have you ever heard the term bottle episode? It is where it's basically it's like one area for the entire episode, limited amount of characters, and it's basically like a money saving. It's an industry term where it's kind of a money saving episode. They're spending up more money on other episodes, so this is a cheap way. Wilson Fisk wasn't in it, Vanessa wasn't in it, his partner wasn't in it. They did have a guest star, obviously, with the cons, but limited amount of people in it. One area was just the bank and some of the surrounding areas. So
that sounds like, Walking Dead did that a lot. They would follow a character into their own world, and they would spend the whole episode on that character wherever they were at that particular moment, like showing a little backstory on them, which I would imagine I don't think they can do it with Daredevil, because Matt Murdock has got to be in every episode. But on a show like The Walking Dead, what they used to do was, if the focus was on one character for that show, none of the other characters would show up. So they could be off filming their own episode about themselves, and then they would air them like week after week, and they would only have to film once.
Yeah.
1 week. But they can't do that with Daredevil because he's got to be in every show.
But they could do something like this where he's in it and almost all of the other main characters are not.
Yeah.
I don't want them to keep doing it. We don't need that. No. But I don't think I ever said in my life, every time I've seen a filler episode for a show, I'm like, really? But this was so good. I really thought it was a great episode. And then after it was over, I'm like, wow, that was a filler episode. How did I like it so much? And just, good writing can do that for a show. Then we get into Excessive Force, which when I saw the title, I thought for sure we were getting Frank Castle back. And once again, he wasn't, but I'm not going to complain about that, because obviously after the failed bank robbery, Luca goes to the mayor's office and basically says, I'm not paying that $1.8 million. Fisk raised the price to $2.8 million and says you got a week to pay it.
You know what he wanted to do?
Oh, he wanted to kill him.
To tear him apart. Yeah. And eventually he will.
Yes.
I think.
And you could even see it in his face. Like when he was talking to him, he was just like, I'm in the mayor's office. I can't do it. But, oh, man, I want to give you old Kingpin justice right now because you are being disrespectful and I cannot tolerate that. Because he knows if you're going to run a criminal empire and someone acts that way to you and you let them get away with it, it's like raising kids. One kid sees you let them get away with like back talking to you, all the kids are going to, want to get away with it. So, and now once again, I'm not suggesting you beat the kids who are back talking, take away electronics, things like that. You just, a negative consequence, which with kids, not beatings. Once again, I can't say that enough.
I can't stress that enough.
But with the Kingpin, he was probably thinking, how could I do this and not get caught? And he figured, I can't. So you know what? I'm going to let him leave. But if you think for a minute that he is forgetting about what he did,
right?
Never.
Yeah, you can see it in Vincent D'Onofrio's face. He's such a perfect actor for this role. I mean, I like him in other roles too, but this, you can see every inch of hurt in his face. Like he's hurting because he's being disrespected and he can't do anything about it because he's not in the right space. He's not down on the docks where he can just destroy this guy. He's in his office. And that's why the guy came to his office, so that would happen.
Check the closing mechanism on his door in his SUV.
Right. Just wait until the head comes off. Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Working fine. Yeah, it's all good. And then we have I was going to say the city sanitation's like head, but I don't even know if it was the head of this. It was just someone from the city's sanitation department, basically
Like the guy from the bank. I thought it was the guy from the bank.
Which guy? Oh, the one guy who was like telling him about. He was like one of the
Yeah, it's a Mets
captives.
Jets fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was him.
Oh, now I'm gonna. Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch both episodes again. Darn it, Dave.
Darn it, that'll be terrible.
But you know, he's talking about, because we kind of saw the scenes earlier where they're using the power washers to try to get it out, and he's basically tells him after a very long roundabout way of getting to the point.
I was like, man, get it out, shut up. Yeah.
That it's basically human blood, which if anyone, you know, has been watching the watched our In Focus on Muse, you know that, you know, he is kind of a street artist that uses, you know, bodies and blood and all of that. So, you know, he basically tells the mayor, hey, this is human blood and quite a few victims, you know, and
60.
Well, yeah, we found out from the police chief later that it ended up being 60, but he's like, you know, and he does some epoxy with it, and we can't get it off without, you know, basically almost destroying the wall that it's put on. And, you know, obviously Fisk is just getting pushed to his limit with all of this stuff that's going on. And, you know, he decides, well, actually, he goes to the fundraiser after that and
he loves fundraisers.
Yeah, you know, trying to deal with all these people where, you know, they're like, oh, you just want to build the docks up because that's self-serving and stuff. And he's like, I'm just trying to do what's best for the city. And then in one of the great little cameos, you know, we get Jack Duchesne, the swordsman from Hawkeye, showing up. And, you know, he's a wealthy guy, and he's, you know, talking to Fisk about all this stuff. Just didn't throw it in your face. Didn't be like, hey, you guys know who that is, right?
You just need to remember where the money comes from. He didn't even say it any harder than that. Just remember where the money comes from. That's all he had to say. And I'm sure Fisk took it the right way, but it's still, if he was in his other capacity, he would be like, I got you all in this room, and I'll take you all out if I have to.
Yeah, we're doing what I say. There's no disagreeing with me. This is the plan, and you guys will execute it.
Really, that sounds really familiar. We seeing that anything like that in the world today?
No, I don't think so. There's no way anything in the world like that could be right now. No. But basically, it all comes down to pretty much everyone saying, yeah, we're not going to fund this. We're not going to help you build this. It's, you know, not in our interest. So basically, we're not going to deal with it. And then the mayor establishes the Anti-Vigilante Task Force. And he gets a bunch of dirty cops, which Daredevil, or Matt Murdock's Buddy Powell, and he got Cole North. And for those of you who don't know Cole North, he was a big part of some of the comics. He actually caught Daredevil at one point in the comics. So I wonder if that's going to play out in this at all. But he kind of captures him at one point as part of the Anti-Vigilante Task Force. And he's just a normal dude, but he's, you know, very smart guy, as you saw from Fisk introducing him. You know, he made detective extremely quickly. You know, his methods were frowned upon because, you know, he got information from perps anyway.
Unethically.
Yes, exactly.
Unethically.
And so, you know, he's a perfect person. Fisk loves this guy. That's the kind of guy he wants. You know, he does what it takes to get the job done. He doesn't care if it's legal or not. So we see that. And I don't think we saw... Did we see it? I don't know if we saw it in this episode, but I saw a scene from a future episode where their uniform, the AVTF, has the Punisher emblem on it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay, then it was for the future, and he is definitely
not happy.
He's gonna. This is what's gonna bring Frank out of his little hidey hole and start going, you know, full Punisher on the city. So, you know, it's all building to that. We got, you know, all the stuff pushing Matt to be his true self as Daredevil. All the stuff going on with Wilson Fisk, pushing him to be the Kingpin. And they're also doing their best to, subtly, they're not, let's go, Punisher, you've got to get on the city. It's all leading up to it. And I just think that this season is going to end tremendously because of all they're building to, as long as they capitalize on what they're building to. And I certainly think they're going to, because, we kind of have Angela come in and talk to Matt in the office after that, saying, listen, Hector was investigating something. A lot of people are going missing, and we need help. And he's like, Matt's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm just a lawyer or whatever. And she's like, you got to be able to do something, and kind of leaves there. Excuse me. Very upset with everybody. She knows she can't trust the cops. She thought, Matt might be able to help, and he basically kind of blows her off and won't help. And then she goes off kind of on her own, looking in that old subway system that she had told Matt where a lot of people are going missing, trying to investigate herself. And then Matt gets a call from her mom. And this, I thought this was so great. He starts dialing 911, and he's like, 911, what's your emergency? He's like, F it. And then you see him daredeviling. Well, you see him go and get the costume, and then you just see him, flying through the city basically with his billy clubs. I was like, that was great.
Oh yeah, and when he comes running in front of that train, he's out of focus, and all of a sudden he's right there. That was sweet.
Oh man, yeah. That I was worried bad things were going to happen to Angela, because Muse has her on the table. He basically hooked up his little machine, the drainer of blood. And then all of a sudden, he hears the train or whatever, and he goes out and looks. And then, you just see a form running at him. And then he uses his billy club into the wall and brings it. Just, man, I was so
That was a hell of an entrance. Yeah. And, that's my only complaint about this episode, too, is that Muse has been operating all season in the background, but it has been happening. And this is the one thing that gets him to say, F it, I'm going to put on the suit and I'm going to get out there, right? But the thing that bothered me was it was one fight and he took him down. I don't know if he's going to get... He got away.
He did get away. Because remember, he had to look after Angela to make sure she was good, and he took that opportunity to leave.
I thought it would be a little bit more a psychological battle than... Because I don't think Muse was going to take Matt in a one-on-one fight, but I thought he'd have some more moves to get out of there in a more thoughtful way. Instead, he just got his ass kicked and he laid on the ground until Matt wasn't looking. You know what I mean?
He didn't expect Matt to show up either, and I think I think it will become more focused on Daredevil, his art from now on, because they have done a good job of not trying to overwhelm us. We see graffiti in the background. It says Muse, and even in this episode we saw he was doing something, and those two girls come up and are like, oh my god, are you Muse? And then unfortunately they became a part of his next piece. So I think it'll start being a lot more, as you put it, psychological towards Matt, his art and other things, and he's gonna not be caught unaware again. This was him just thinking he found some girl to do and had no idea that this was Hector's niece, and obviously had ties to Daredevil, so he won't be caught unaware again. I thought, because I was wondering, because once Matt found him, I'm like, Muse cannot fight Daredevil. He doesn't, he's quick, he's got some agility and all this stuff, and he's got a really smart brain, but he can't take Daredevil one-on-one, so him just being smart enough to realize he's saving the girl, I'm out of here. I thought that was good.
I wonder how much blood he got out of her before Matt was able to stop it, because remember, her heart stopped. So how much blood did she lose? And then taking that out, wouldn't she be squirting blood everywhere? Or I didn't see the size of the needle.
It was a regular size needle.
Oh, okay. So she'd be fine.
I think
put
so.
Put a Band-Aid on, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and drink some water, get some juice, some cookies, get that blood
reworking. Gauze, you'll be fine. We're going to use the rest of this for plasma, so just relax.
And then, once again in parallel, while this is going on, seemingly, Fisk goes to his little secret dungeon and brings an axe. And of course, I was like, oh, poor Adam. He's about to get it. And he's like,
Well, you were right.
I had to fight. Yeah, I meant get the axe in a different way, obviously. But, and, he's like, I had to fight bigger people than me. And, you learn. And gives him the axe and then just proceeds to beat the living snot out of him, which I'm sure felt very good. And even, the little things like, at the beginning of the season, he was eating, one chicken breast and an asparagus. And then you see him in his secret dungeon. He's having like full, giant Italian pasta meals and, big glass of red wine, and he's even, breaking out of his clothes that he has that was fitting the slimmer Wilson Fisk. So his body's increasing again like the Kingpin. So, I mean, so good. 6 episodes in, and they have just done a great job of everything they've wanted to approach, hit on. There's been maybe minor things that haven't been awesome, but to me, just this season has been fantastic. And I hope the last 3 episodes, continue that train and just perfectly nail this landing.
See, and he didn't kill Adam either. He just got a workout, but he got what he got to be a little bit of himself. And we've seen his hands in previous episodes with marks on him. Is that how many times he's going back to beat up Adam?
That's what I think.
And maybe with that little speech that he gave, maybe he's Adam's gonna be strong enough to leave one day if he ever if he's ever able to stand up again after that beating. But he promised not to kill him.
And so he will not kill him. He will not. I do not think he'll break that promise to Vanessa. But he never said he wouldn't beat him within an inch of his life multiple times. So, the whole monkey paw thing. Be careful what you wish for or ask for. Because there's always ways around it. Just, they have stuck to the theme of the parallels between Matt and Wilson throughout this. And it finally kind of erupted a little bit for both of them at the end of this. So
and they're both after they're both after Muse.
Yeah.
So Muse, is in a bad spot being sought after by both the Kingpin and Daredevil. But it's just a smokescreen for the Kingpin because anything he can use as a false motivation. He's a vigilante. Muse is not a vigilante, but he doesn't care. He's wearing a costume. That's all that matters. And he's going to spin it that way, like we're doing a good thing.
Yep. This is what the vigilantes in the city are doing to us. And he, having a serial killer who dresses up like that is getting him to get his, anti-vigilante task force going and funded. It's, we never see that in American politics. People use something like that to fund something they want and get it out of the way. So just been fantastic.
It's never happened.
Never once. God bless the United States of America. The greatest country that ever was has done no wrong ever.
That's true. We never have.
But should we rate these episodes, good sir?
Yes. Are we going to read them together or as 5 and 6?
Let's do 5 and 6 because they were two distinct different episodes. How often when we get 2 episodes dropped at the same time, they link together very well.
Right.
These didn't. I'm still glad we got 2, don't get me wrong, but they didn't really link together all that much.
No, they didn't. And that's the thing. Because on my scale, they're both going to rate kind of, I'd say 5 would drag down 6 if we were rating them together. Because if we're going to go with 5, we rate them separately. 5 was a complete filler episode in my mind. I know you said it was a filler episode, but for different reasons you liked it more. I just think they could have shrank it down and had it be just a shorter plot or shorter, not episode, but it could have been part of an episode rather than the whole episode. But, and there's something to be said for slow playing and seeing all the motivations as they creep up. But I don't think this one had it. I think, yeah, okay, I get that he is regaining his motivation and we're showing off his skills. And you know what other show was really good at that without using the actual suit? That was Smallville. That's right. But I wouldn't rank this as like a Smallville episode because I thought they did it better. But so for episode 5, since I wasn't really, after I got that point after about 15 minutes and there was still like a half hour left, I'm gonna pull it down. I'm gonna give it a 5.5. It's still better than average, but I didn't think it was the best work they've done this season. Now, episode 6, where it shows the parallels between Wilson Fisk and Daredevil, it's like, if they, are they going to be able, the way they're showing the parallels, are they going to be able to have Daredevil beyond Wilson Fisk? Because they're making, in the show, they're making their lives very, distinctly linked with each other. I don't think he needs him. Obviously, he can survive without him in the comics, but so far this show has set it up so that where would he go if he was in, like, say, a Spider-Man movie? Would Wilson Fisk also have to be in that movie? I don't know. I would love it if Wilson Fisk was in every street level thing because he's just amazing. He'd have to go through his own trials and tribulations as well. But this episode was so much better. And I liked seeing the swordsman as opposed to, all right, after the first time they mentioned Kamala Khan in the last episode, they probably could have said it maybe one more time and we would have got the point. That was a little overdone. This was the opposite. I liked seeing him. He had a very small part, but he made his point. So I liked it. I liked it a lot more. And I'm going to give the second episode a 7.5.
Yeah, total filler episode for 5. It was self-contained, a little bottle episode, all in the bank and just outside of it. But I really enjoyed it. This was something that, digging, saying, oh, this kind of, another instance in, pushing Matt to be Daredevil again. But just the way it was all handled was, great acting on all sides, wonderfully written, great seeing Matt using his abilities, to help in a couple different ways, to basically save everybody in the bank, stop the heist, even make sure that the guy who escaped in his police uniform got justice, street level wise. And, I was, at the end of the episode is when I was like, wow, that was a filler episode, but it was still great. I'm going to give it an 8. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just beautiful on all ends. They could have said Kamala's name a few less times, but it's okay. I know they were just trying to, work Daredevil Born Again into the overall MCU. This could have been handled a little better, but that's just a minor nitpick for that video. Now, Excessive Force really got back into all of the different plot threads going on, that we're used to. All the things that Matt Murdock is going through, all the things that Wilson Fisk is going through. Seeing Wilson, who's, as a former kingpin of crime, is used to people doing what he says. He had one of his old, deputies or lieutenants, captains, whatever you want to call them, come into his office, completely disrespect him. He couldn't do anything about it. He was at the fundraiser with everybody, instead of listening and doing what he wanted as quickly as they could. We're not doing that. That's something for you. I'm not going to help fund it. I'm out. He did get his anti-vigilante task force going, and then we see with Matt, we see all the little things that have led to this. His talk with Frank Castle from the episode before, seeing the bank and needing to save people and, basically stop the criminals. And then in this, Angela coming, and because he wasn't doing anything, she decided to do it on her own and ended up getting caught by a serial killer. So when he finally put that costume on, I was like, it felt 100% earned, was awesome. I was like standing up in my seat like, okay. And I paused it because I'm like, how much is left in this episode? Because I hope there's like a half hour left. Unfortunately, there wasn't. It was like maybe 10 minutes, I think. But it was great seeing both of their plots
journey
journeys get to that point kind of at the same time. He puts the costume back on because he knows he's got to, go save Angela. He had no idea it was Muse. He doesn't know that those murals are done in blood yet. It hasn't been released to the public because the mayor wants to keep it on the down low. So he just thought, something bad happened to her down in the sewers. He thought he was just going to go deal with some thugs, and then finds out it's, whatever it was he found, obviously we know. And then seeing Fisk going down and giving Adam a weapon and saying, basically, let's go. And he finally, realized that it's a lot easier being a mobster or being the Don of a family than it is being mayor. There's a lot more red tape and stuff. So, man, I'm giving a second episode a 9.2. I just really thought it was extremely well done. Obviously, it was nice that Matt found Muse and, Muse got away. And now I think there's going to be, as much as Muse made fun of superheroes kind of beforehand, was going much more after the mayor and cops and stuff. And I think it's going to be a little more focused on Daredevil from now on, well, and the Kingpin, because we get the parallel for both of them in that. So, right. Just absolutely fantastic. I was...
Absolutely fantastic.
Yes. I need a drink.
And you know what surprised me? Is that I read the ratings have been going down for this show, and I don't understand it. Because
really?
The show, season 3 of Daredevil 7 years ago was the best of the show, and I would place this second as far as like the other season. Maybe season 1 was really good, but I like this season a lot. So I don't understand why viewership or ratings would go down.
Some people might be waiting till it's all done. Yeah, we'll have to see because, one of the things I always look at too, since we don't really get ratings, right away, we have no idea kind of what the numbers are right away. But right. Social media wise, like the night until I'm able to watch the episodes, I'm not always able to watch right at 9:00, with kids and everything else. I have to get off social media because everyone's talking everything about Daredevil Born Again. So I know... it's getting the social media presence. It's trending. It's doing the things that, good shows.
Battery 2% charged.
Daredevil. It's cool.
He's right.
You're not watching it, but...
Well, I just said Daredevil is cool.
Oh, yeah, Daredevil is cool. He's a cool character. You're
I
right.
said that.
That's a good point. Thanks, buddy.
By the way, what even is Daredevil based off of?
He's a superhero. He's a blind superhero that... He's like a street level hero, like Spider-Man.
Look, so he just can't see.
He can't see, but he has radar senses as part of his superpower. So
he's kind of like this guy, but just blind.
No, Cyclops isn't blind. He just wears that shield so he doesn't shoot his concussive ray blast out of his eye. I have an X-Men video game over there.
Yeah. We can talk about Cyclops in a moment.
Yep.
It's because it has Iron Man in it.
Well, yeah. Wait, who's Iron Man? On the video game? Where's Iron Man?
No, he's in the video game.
Oh, yeah, he's...
Don't see him.
Right, well, that's because that's the X-Men game, and then Captain America and the Avengers is just another game loaded on it. But before we do talk about the Doomsday cast reveal, which, yes, for those of you playing the home game, I did have it on the entire time. I was reading and doing other things since there was a lot of time between each reveal, but I did have it on. But I wanted to show you guys a little something. So there's been some footage from season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. And before we start talking about some other things, I want to show you some of the things we got. You will see Daredevil's suit from season 2. It's his black suit. And one of the coolest things about it all is, yes, we get the banging double D's on his chest.
That's Ben Affleck, isn't it?
It is not. No, stop. Don't even joke about that, Dave.
Where's Thunder Walker when I need him?
Yeah.
Tundra Walker. Sorry.
I think he's watching the Tigers game, which they're down 4-2. So. Oh, and look, the real Palal, cheap viewers on Steamboo.com. Remove the space.
We don't like cheap viewers.
We like top of the line quality viewers, but thanks for the tip. But yeah, we got these. I mean, I think that black suit looks very Shadowland Daredevil. I don't know what they're going to be doing in season 2, but wow, that I think that just looks great.
And he's standing in front of a SWAT truck with a SWAT team right behind him and not trying to apprehend him. So obviously, whatever he's going through gets worked out.
It sounds that way. Or the SWAT team realizes that Daredevil's one of the good guys, and maybe some of the guys on the anti-vigilante team are known dirty cops. So, we'll have to see. But Dave did hint at the Doomsday cast. One of the things we talked about earlier about the pre-credit scene with Kamala going to talk to Kate Bishop, getting mentioned in Daredevil. Obviously, it sounds like they have a writer and showrunner for the Champion series, formerly the Young Avengers, which is going to do all that. And then the post-credit scene, or the mid-credit scene for the Marvels, had Photon waking up with her mother being binary, basically a Captain Marvel variant, we'll say, and the Beast from the X-Men, played by Kelsey Grammer. And we did, obviously we got a lot of Avengers that are going to be in it. We got Shang-Chi, we got, Captain America, we got Thor, we got all of the Fantastic Four. And we got a lot of X-Men, not from the original X-Men, not the kind of soft reboot we got. So, we got James Marsden as Cyclops. We got, Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Ian McKellen,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, as Magneto. We didn't get anyone for Jean Grey, but we got Nightcrawler. We got... who else do we get? Well, who am I missing?
We got Loki.
No, I'm thinking X-Men.
Oh, just X-Men. Okay.
Yeah. So we didn't get...
We got... You say Nightcrawler?
Yep, we got Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
we got Beast.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
Yes, Mystique. So it looks like, that world that Photon got taken to at the end of the Marvels is the original sort of X-Men universe. So we're getting
is a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it looks like
and we got Gambit too.
Yes, Channing Tatum though. So it's the X-Men, or Deadpool and Wolverine Gambit, which I'm fine with. Totally cool with that. He did a great job. So, but then, who we didn't get, there was no Guardians of the Galaxy. There was no Eternals. There was no Spider-Man. There was no Hulks. And there was no Doctor Strange. And no Wanda. No Scarlet Witch.
I really expected those last 3, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Wanda. I really expected to see them in there. And we got M'Baku back, but no Black Panther.
No, Loretta
we do
Wright.
have Black Panther, Letitia Wright. But I heard they were recasting Black Panther. I don't know if I heard that wrong.
That people were saying it seemingly is untrue. There was some of the artwork for Secret Wars showed a Black Panther as a male. And a lot of people said, they're recasting him. Nothing's been confirmed by that. And we may get a Black Panther in Secret Wars. I don't think we'll get a new T'Challa in Doomsday.
Well, we could get a variant, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And it could be the Black Panther moving forward post-Secret Wars. Because I do think there's going to be a merging of some universes or, kind of a soft reboot once everything goes back to normal or post-Secret Wars.
They announced 25 cast members. And yeah, I was shocked by a few absentees. Like, I thought for sure Spider-Man was definitely going to be in this.
Now, there's been a rumor that came out today, and whether it's true or not, it could people just be, why wouldn't Spider-Man be in the cast? Oh, I got an idea. We know that the next Spider-Man movie is coming out between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and what was making the rounds today is the next Spider-Man movie is going to take place during Doomsday and what was going on with him. And that's why he's not going to be in actual Doomsday. But we also found out yesterday, later on, even though we got like 28 people announced for this movie, it's not everybody. There are still some surprises and other things that are going to happen. Now, it may not mean Doctor Strange. It may not mean, She-Hulk, Hulk, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, or any of those. But there are still some people who have not been revealed that are going to be in the movie.
Maybe they haven't made their first MCU appearance yet. Maybe they're in one of these upcoming movies.
And that could be. Oh, we got a lot of the Thunderbolts too. Except for
I didn't see Elena though. Did we
she
see
was
Elena?
there. Yep, she was there.
I'm looking through the pictures that you sent me.
I don't think I sent them all. The wife was out thrifting, so I was making the kids food and doing a bunch of things, and I may have missed sending some stuff to you guys. Of course, somebody edited it down to it was like a minute 47 that showed all the names. And at the end, you see Robert Downey Jr. going, shh, kind of mimicking the Agatha, where she was kind of sitting in the chair, shushing people in WandaVision, which I thought was pretty funny. I do think 5.5 hours of showing chairs was the worst way to reveal the cast that has ever been done. Please don't ever do it again. But I saw after that, they had like 8.5 million people tuning into that stream.
Wow.
And it trended harder on social media than Deadpool and Wolverine or anything in the MCU since Endgame.
Wow. Wow.
So
That's
I guess
Owen Wilson. Wow.
Yeah, I guess spreading it out over all that time so everyone knew what was going on, you could tune in, probably played off. But yeah, speaking of Owen Wilson, we didn't talk about it. Tom Hiddleston has been confirmed. He will be back. I know Doug was a little disappointed. He thought the way his story ended in Loki Season 2 was a great way to end it. He shouldn't come back. He could contain it. But I do think we're going to see Doctor Doom messing with what he created. Doctor Doom is going to want to create a sacred timeline or reestablish a sacred timeline or do something to mess with what Loki did at the end of Season 2. We'll try not to spoil it too much. But if you haven't watched Loki on Disney Plus, go watch it. That is without question the best thing they've produced in Phase 4 or 5 as far as so far.
And Carrie's on. She said, "You can never have too much Loki." But I bet he's a variant. No, I disagree. I think he's going to be challenged by whatever, like Keith said, with what Doctor Doom does. And he's controlling all the timelines right now. So he's going to notice something and say, that's out of place. I got to fix it. That's what I think.
I agree. He's definitely going to try to help put a stop to Doom's plans. He's going to be on the right side this time. But it could be a variant, too, because a lot of people are saying Sophie DiMartinez is going to show up, too. So, which I would also be fine with. I mean, if they're going to bring Loki back, I'm all for it, because I never thought in the life of me after Endgame I would say we need more Loki. But after Season 1 and Season 2 of Loki, they could have that show run 15 years and I would watch every episode. Oh, and Carrie says, I just think it's a massive cast list, so I imagine some are going to be quick scenes. Yeah, and I think we'll see team-ups, and I think a lot of what's going to happen is also going to lead into Secret Wars. And honestly, I thought, because we heard the night before that, there was going to be a Marvel announcement that was going to be as big as Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. I thought for sure they were going to announce that Doomsday and Secret Wars was going to be 3 movies instead of 2.
Oh.
And we still may get
I thought you were going to say something about Wonder Man there.
Well, we're going to find out that Wonder Man is obviously who saves the day, stops Doom, like in the wonderful graphic novel Emperor Doom. Wonder Man will be the one who saves the day. But, I'm glad you mentioned
it. It'll be retitled Secret Wars, ... Wonder Man.
I mean, if they wanted to make $5 billion, they would.
Of course, yeah. Who wouldn't do that?
But it was funny you say that because I forgot to mention, and we were talking about Daredevil, when he said, "Oh, she's out on the West Coast with some friends right now." I started thinking, I know that they said that Young Avengers was going to be retitled Champions. I wonder if we are going to get, at some point, Champions morph into the West Coast Avengers. And we know that Wonder Man is obviously, he's an actor. He's out on the West Coast. Maybe he'll be joining the West Coast Avengers because he was obviously in the comics. And he's out there, so we could see Wonder Man teaming up with, like, Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, Cassie Lang, all of those. Obviously, that wasn't the lineup that we got in the original Avengers West Coast, but, I mean, I would like it. You know, those of you that know me know I'm a big fan of Wonder Man, so, you know, I'm looking forward to this December, and I'm hoping we see him in a lot more, so it'd be great if he joined a West Coast Avengers team.
Well, at the same time, when she was saying there's so many cast members, I thought that too when they were going into Infinity War, and I thought, you know, the team that's handling it now, the Russo brothers, I thought they handled and balanced that very well with each character getting a good amount of screen time. I thought they did an excellent job with that. I hope they can keep it up because it's a lot to ask when you got those big movies that have all the Avengers in them, 28 of them or whatever, 28 main characters, and then you reel it back and go into just like a one character movie, and it's probably got like two other heroes in it. It's, you know, it's why the single movies do worse. But if you can do it, if you can write accurate storylines for each character, keeping them true to their character, and somehow pushing them, you know, putting them all into one movie, it's incredible. It takes certain skill, and not everybody can do it, and they've done it great so far. Those three in a row, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, the way they did those with all those multiple characters, I have all the faith in the world.
Yeah, the same. I mean, those movies were seamless. You didn't think like, man, we didn't see enough of that character. Everyone had their moment to shine. Everyone did their thing. And, you know, I'm looking forward to this. I really hope, though, just thinking how much has to get done between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and the fact that Disney has already said, you know, we need more Avengers movies. Not having an Avengers movie, all of Phase 4, and nothing yet in Phase 5, I think we might, you know, work another one in there. But the fact that they're talking that the Spider-Man movie is going to take place during Doomsday and what he was dealing with during all that time, you know, we might get more solo movies that are happening between Doomsday and Secret Wars, kind of on either Battle World or just dealing with the effects of Doomsday, and make it, you know, not only just two Avengers movie, but it affects every movie in between, and not just a post-credit scene, kind of like we got Ant-Man and the Wasp or Captain Marvel. It's the whole movie. So we'll have to see. And Carrie says MCU doesn't disappoint me. I'm sure I'll love it. Yeah, you know, they've had some things that haven't been great in Phase 4 and Phase 5, but there's still been a lot of good stuff. And, you know, as a comic book nerd since I was little, I'm going to see everything they put out.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, I'm still going to see it all, even though they're not all smashes, you know, like in the first three phases where they had so many good hits. They're not all still doing that, but I still watch them all. I gotta know the complete story, man. That's just the way I am. You know what else I saw? No Moon Knight.
Once again, the whole cast hasn't been announced, and once again, he may just not fit into what they're doing here in Doomsday. But I do think Moon Knight will be back. I really hope we do get a Midnight Suns type thing, because there was even people saying they expected Ryan Gosling to be announced for Doomsday. And if
that was the big reveal they were expecting?
Some people were saying they're going to announce Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider. And I think what you said earlier is more right. If someone is in Doomsday that hasn't been revealed in the MCU yet, they're not going to announce him as a cast member like that. They'll, if he appears before Doomsday in something, it'll be, oh, and guess what? He's going to be back in Doomsday. It's not going to be, we're going to announce this guy in the movie, and then people are going, what? Who is he playing?
Is that who he was supposed to play? I thought he was supposed to play Nova.
There was reports that he was going to be Nova, and then another report that he was going to play Ghost Rider, and Kevin Feige really wanted him to be Ghost Rider. So, once again, no major outlet has reported anything on it, so it's all just rumors and speculation at this point. But it would be cool. It's funny you say Nova because there's a Marvel Comics beat 'em up arcade type game coming to consoles and PC at the end of the year, and Nova is in it. And it's I forget what it's called.
Went back into the consciousness.
Yep, and Annihilus is the main villain. So I'm like, okay, this obviously was probably put out because, from what we've heard, Annihilus is going to be the villain of the Nova series when it finally comes out. So maybe we're going to get some Nova announcements. Maybe we'll get Nova showing up in Secret War somehow. Who knows?
Maybe they release the game, and if it doesn't do that well, then they scrap the whole Nova idea. That would be crap. But that, it's a good way to gauge it, I guess, gauge interest.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do that all the time. And it was funny because everyone was talking after the Marvels, disappointed at the box office like I did, even though I still thought it was a good movie. Wasn't great, but I enjoyed it. It had some good stuff. The two post-credit scenes seem to be the most relevant moving forward right now in the MCU. I can't think of any other post-credit scene that is getting a huge, cast reveal for Doomsday, and then obviously a series and being mentioned in Daredevil Born Again. So, good stuff. I'm going to have to watch the Marvels again.
With the cast reveal, and I mean, I'm not asking you to lay out the plot for us, but can you see a plot line involving all those characters in your head?
Well, I mean, all I can think of is obviously somehow with the Fantastic Four coming in and knowing that in the Fantastic Four trailer, we see Reed working on what looks to be a multiversal bridge. And I do think that somehow he's going to make it to the 616 and then somehow work their way to whatever, universe that Photon found herself in at the end of the Marvels. And that's where we're getting all of the Avengers and all of the X-Men from the original X-Men coming in. And we may even see some X-Men versus the Avengers. We may see them fighting it out a little bit because the one thing we
don't know each other.
Yeah. The one thing we know about the Fantastic Four movie and the universe that they're in is they're the only heroes in that world. And the X-Men are probably the same from their universe. So seeing, these superpowered people coming in, they're probably not going to, hey guys, how's it going? What can they're probably going to think they need to protect them, Earth or their universe or whatever. And then I think they'll figure out there's a much bigger threat in Doctor Doom than whatever they're doing.
All right. I have no big thoughts on that. But like I said, I trust the Russo brothers, so I'm sure it was going to be great. Last time I trusted a director, though, they gave me The Dark Knight Rises. I had full and complete faith in Christopher Nolan. It was kind of a hiccup. It wasn't horrible. Just wasn't. It didn't continue the uphill movement after The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I liked the movie, but it was kind of a disappointment after The Dark Knight because The Dark Knight is still probably the greatest comic book movie ever made, and it was a downward from there, but still some quality stuff.
I mean, if he would have been able to use Heath Ledger the way he wanted to, it might have been better.
And that's the thing. From what we hear, he had big plans for Heath Ledger and a Joker in it. And then obviously Heath Ledger passed away, so he had to rework what he had. So, oh, that's another thing. You know who else was not announced at all? for Doomsday.
Conspicuously absent was who?
Brie Larson and Tavona Paris. Photon and Captain Marvel were not on the list.
You're right. Wow.
Now, once again, we've heard that there are more people in it, but maybe this is sort of the main cast. So, Photon, Captain Marvel may be in it, but it's a smaller role leading into Secret Wars. We don't know. But the fact that, and Miss Marvel, the three main characters of the movie that is seemingly leading the way to the future of the MCU, none of them are in it. Have been announced yet, I should say.
Have you seen Brie Larson lately?
She hasn't stopped by lately.
Hair, man. It's like not like this. It's not like my hair. Her hair is more like your hair right now.
Oh wow, is it for a role?
That's what I actually asked that question, and obviously I didn't get an answer. But it has to be for a role. I mean, why would she do that? Like Natalie Portman when she did it for V for Vendetta.
Yep.
I got it.
Huh. Well, I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't see that. Now, are you ready for a huge scoop? Supposedly, rumor, I should say.
Huge rumor. Incoming now.
According to My Time to Shine Hello, the Fantastic Four First Steps is going to have a huge cameo.
Now, who would that be?
I did not guess it. I was wrong with my guess.
Is it Cosmic?
No. Well, maybe.
Maybe. Now you're throwing me off.
Yeah.
It's not Wonder Man, is it?
No. I mean, that would guarantee it makes $2 billion. But no, not Wonder Man. It's someone who's been rumored to be coming back to the MCU, but has denied it multiple times.
Is this Chris Evans?
It is.
As Captain America? Or as the Human Torch?
Was not said. Just that Chris Evans will make an appearance in Fantastic Four First Steps. And all I can think of, it wouldn't make sense necessarily to see him as the Human Torch again. Unless they're using the multiversal bridge to, travel somewhere. But if the rumor is true that he is going to be playing Captain Hydra as part of Doctor Doom's sort of multiversal Masters of Evil or something, what if he shows up as Captain Hydra?
That motivates Reed to get it to move to that universe. I was gonna say dimension, but universe.
Not even necessarily move, but no, I've got to get some. If Doctor Doom is recruiting multiversal villains, I need help, because if they are the only heroes in their universe, he knows he's going to have to recruit some other people. He may not know about the Avengers, but he's going to know he needs somebody.
Okay.
And that may be what starts his whole, universe sort of hopping campaign that leads into Doomsday and getting into, the X-Men universe where Photon is.
We should have gave Carrie a chance to guess too.
Oh, we should have. Sorry, Carrie. Sometimes we get carried away talking and forget our chats. But yeah,
we get excited.
That's it. And it's funny because this close to, obviously Fantastic Four is done. They may do some, minor reshoots or something, but it's pretty much done. And this is one of those. Scoopers are not usually this, exact in what they say. This close to the movie release and this being exact, I'm like, it sounds true. Just, other rumors we've heard with him coming back and, of course, him denying it, which means nothing. After Andrew Garfield denied he was in Spider-Man No Way Home for the longest time. I still love that whole story because, Charlie Cox and Andrew Garfield are good friends. And they were both in Atlanta filming No Way Home at the same time. And Andrew Garfield did not know Charlie Cox was in the movie. And he's like, you're not in my script. And he's like, yeah, of course not, but they went out to dinner together in Atlanta. And then we're like, oh, crap, we can't be seen together in the city where Spider-Man is filming, or it's going to blow up. But I love this
Right.
story.
Well, is Charlie Cox English?
He is.
Oh, I never heard him speak outside of the Daredevil, so I don't know what his accent or whatever.
Yep, he's British, and I loved his Irish accent in that first episode when he gets on the thing and does an American doing an Irish accent. That's talent right there. That was great.
Yeah.
And now this isn't a rumor, but a little news for you. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Ahsoka season 2 is in production. It is filming right now.
That I read, so you're not shocking me right there.
Oh man, I was hoping to shock you. I was hoping to get you on one. And then we have one more thing that we heard today. And I'm going to change the picture. So, according to Daniel Richman, Superman had a test screening. And from what he hears, everyone loved it.
Not hard to believe.
Not at
James
all.
Gunn written movie. Of course, people loved it.
Yeah, we like.
But I don't have a whole lot of faith in these test audiences, because sometimes they're right on, sometimes they're way off, and I think they're more often way off.
Yeah, we have no idea who they're pulling off the street to see these movies. They could, they could
Right.
be.
That friend of yours who didn't like Infinity War because of he didn't know where all the other characters came from.
Yes.
Could be people like that.
Yes. Oh, mom duty. Ta-ta for now. Carrie, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you soon. I'm hoping to make the next coffee little chit-chat on Saturday. Doug told me it was quite spicy the last time, so I'm definitely hoping to get out there. And then, that's it. That's all we got for the night. I forgot. Superman was my last thing. A lot of good stuff going on.
So what do we got? We got coming up next month. We got Thunderbolts. Well, month and 3 days or whatever. Then the following month we got Superman. Right? That's June.
No, July. July we got Superman and Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
But we do have
One's
the
at the
last.
beginning of the month. One's at the end, right?
Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
Like I think Superman's July 11th and Fantastic Four is July 26th or something like that. But we do have The Last of Us season 2 coming out next month. We got Andor season 2 obviously coming next month. Ironheart coming in June. Is there something
It'll be a
else?
full year.
Yeah. And it's going to slow down a little bit after. We get Superman, we get Fantastic Four, and then there's like Eyes of Wakanda. I think Marvel Zombies. And there's nothing else from DC this year.
Are you sure we don't have a bunch of Sony villain movies?
Yeah, fortunately, they've stopped making those and talking about them. They finally learned their lesson. And then obviously we got the greatest show ever, Wonder Man, coming in December. So, we'll be streaming every night our constant reactions on rewatches all week. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah, it'll keep you warm all winter.
It's definitely my Christmas present from our buddy Kevin. All right, I think that's it. We should probably find somebody to raid.
Yep. Well, we got Tiny Valkyr, just like last time. And we got Bubble. We got Felicia Day. That's all I got.
Yeah, I got an ad on my. Yeah, let's see. Oh, T-Pain. Nope. Bubble, Felicia Day, Tiny Valkyr, Mars Girl.
Looks
To
like
the
we're
Star
pretty much
Wars.
rating with just me and you.
Is it just us?
Yeah.
I mean, we got 2 viewers. I wonder who those could be.
I don't know.
Let's see. Bubble's got like
got
750.
5 on YouTube.
Nice. That's good. And for those of you on YouTube, rating is something we do on Twitch, where we send all of our viewers, unfortunately just Dave and I right now, over to watch another content creator. Share the love. You can kind of do it on YouTube, but you have to know who's going to be live when you're done, and it's not always an easy thing to know. Let's see. Bubble is doing the Yapshire Felicia Day 2-Point Museum, and Tiny Valker is Split Fiction.
I don't know any of those games.
Yeah, neither do I. Let's see, we did Tiny Valker the last time. Felicia Day has 500. Bubble has 715. Let's go Felicia Day.
Yeah, that's
Sound good to you, sir?
I like it.
I always laugh because on her announcement, she's always like, "Get in here, please."
Do it now.
But we will be back next Monday talking about episodes 3 and 4 of Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
Yeah.
The Edgelord has returned. And then obviously next Thursday we'll be back talking Daredevil Born Again episode 7. And also any news that's fit to tell. As you can tell, we talked a little bit about Doomsday's cast. We talked about the Ahsoka. We talked about the Daredevil suit from season 2. So we always talk about all the things, and we're always looking to chat with all of you wonderful people. So if you're on YouTube and you're still watching us and you haven't yet, please give us a follow, or subscribe I should say. Like the video, comment on it. It's all free to you, and it helps our small channel immensely. And we will be back Monday night, and we hope you all will join us.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.